Greetings, people of the internet. This is Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. Welcome once again to the underground lair where we create what? Robots, alien zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. But it is Friday. You know what that means? Wait, what does that mean, actually? It has been so long. So if you have no idea what I mean when I say it's Friday, because it has been a while, so if you're new to the channel, a long time ago, I used to do this thing called Fan Art Friday. And if you follow me enough, you probably know that I kind of took a break from doing fan art. I wanted to concentrate more on my original creations and things like that. So I kind of stopped doing that. I said I may come back, it may not. Now I don't want to give any false hopes that this is definitely back. But something happened, something that made me kind of have to come back and do some fan art. So if you follow me, also you know that I am a big fan of like 80s, you know, kid-centric movies like The Goonies, The Monster Squad, Explorer, stuff like that. I even created a comic book called Young and the Dead, which is like Goonies meets Night of the Living Dead. So this type of genre stuff is really, you know, this is the stuff I really get into. So I watched a little Netflix show you may have heard of called Stranger Things, and that's what I had to come out of my fan art retirement to come and do some fan art for Stranger Things, because it's just I can't say enough good things about this show. So I want to do a sketch. I'm going to do a sketch of 11, one of the characters from Stranger Things, and I want to talk a little bit about the show, and I'm super excited about this. So yeah, if there's anything that's going to be bringing me back to doing a little fan art, this is it, because I love it. So without any further ado, let's get to the art desk, and we're going to do a little sketch of 11. Okay, so it has been a long time since I've done a Fan Art Friday, but like I said, this show is just it's so much of everything that I love. And the funny thing was that, you know, I knew about the show, I knew it was coming out, and I was kind of looking for it. My girlfriend had given me an article about it, and you know, I talked about, it's throwback to a lot of the 80s stuff that I love and everything. So I knew it was coming, but I guess I kind of forgot about it. And then I saw an ad for it, and it was like it was going to air on Netflix like in a couple days. I'm like, oh man, I got to check it out. But then I got kind of busy, so it was probably out for almost a week, I think, before I actually sat down and watched it. And I don't usually watch a lot of television. Like, my kind of regimen is like, sometimes before I go to bed, I'll watch like a half hour show or whatever, and half the time I'll fall asleep because I just, you know, work, and then I put everything off until the end of the day. But this one, you know, I definitely wanted to make time for, and I'm glad I did, because I don't want to say I totally binged it. It wasn't like I just watched one after another. There may have been one. No, I don't think I ever watched 3 episodes at a time, but it would be like I watched them kind of like each night. You know, I'd watch one, and then I'd watch the next one, and then it started. Then there was one night where I watched a particular episode, and I was just like, I couldn't sleep after it. I was so excited, and and it was like late, so I stayed up and I watched the next one. But man, this really is, and if you guys haven't seen it, I mean, you know, part of me wants to think that it's just because it caters so much to me and my sensibilities and all the things that I love, that this is why I love it so much. But everyone else is also talking about it, and it's like, because you know, people would be messaging me, hey, have you seen this Stranger Thing? You're gonna love it, because, you know, a lot of people know my comic, and I do the whole process about my comics, and they know how much of those type of themes I kind of work into it, and that's just what I love. So I got a lot of messages from people saying, we gotta watch this, and I think with, you know, a lot of those coming in, I had already started watching it. I'm like, yeah, I'm watching it, it's great and everything, but yeah, I mean, it is, man, I can't say, you know, enough good things about this show. It is just so awesome. So, and you know, part of it was, you know, I grew up watching this I grew up in the '80s, um, and and that's where a lot of this comes from. But I don't know that you need to. I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff, if you did grow up in that time period, that you're gonna really enjoy, or you're gonna get a lot of references like that. Or if you're just a fan, maybe you're younger, maybe you didn't live through the '80s, or maybe you're real young, but you remember certain things and you go back and you're just a fan of that type of thing. You'll definitely pick up on a lot of things. If you're a fan of Stephen King, or if you're a fan of Steven Spielberg, it's like this mashup of Stephen King and Steven Spielberg. I mean, it really is that. And I almost forgot, because there's not a whole lot of Stephen King in like my writing, my stories and stuff. But I kind of forgot how much I really dug a lot of that Stephen King stuff until I saw it here. Also like John Carpenter, there's a lot of that, but it is really, and it doesn't seem derivative either. It's almost like they took all the best things of all these movies, and when you watch some of these 80s movies, a lot of them have great parts to them, great elements, but it's like they took all that stuff and they took all the stuff that maybe didn't work with those. Like Goonies is great. I love Goonies, but it's not perfect. I mean, some of the acting, and it's just not, plot-wise, I mean, it's a great movie, but this thing just took all that stuff and like elevated it. Same thing with Stephen King. There's a lot of stuff in Stephen King's where there's some issues and stuff like that, at least in my opinion, where Stephen King for me is like one of those where I genuinely, I love the ideas, I love the characters, but some things always like kind of fall apart for me in Stephen King novels. But for me, Stranger Things, the whole thing was just like perfect. All these great elements right from the beginning. I mean, it just captures you. It just draws you in with this first scene, and then there's some story and everything, and then you cut, and there's the mystery, the big mystery, and then you cut to the title sequence. And the title sequence, I was just like my jaw dropped, because this typeface comes up. It's very Stephen King novelization, type of font or typeface, and just the graininess of the background, and then just the way the letters come together. It's so 80s, and the music, this John Carpenter-esque synth type music. Man, amazing, and the characters, the acting. Everything about this thing was perfect to me. It's like the best thing I've seen. I almost want to say in forever. But it's definitely, I want to say it's like my top 10 movies, and I've heard a lot of people talking about this. And when they're talking about it, they're saying, "Oh, I love this movie," and I do that too. And you say it's a movie even though it's a TV show, because it feels like a movie. It feels like this 8-hour-long movie. It's got that feeling, and it's like if you broke it up into chapters, and they don't call them episodes, they call them chapters. And I even heard the producer saying, if we do another one, it's not going to be a season 2. It's going to be, it's going to be a sequel, because it really feels like a movie. But the actors, you've got that kind of Goonies, Monster Squad, Stand By Me, these stories of kids, or even like it's particularly the part when they're younger. It's got that feeling with these kids, and the kids that play these parts. Everyone just brought their A game. The casting was just unbelievable. These kids were like perfect. You believe you're right there with them. You want to be friends with these guys. And it's just, and then it goes from there. But it's not just about the kids. It's also, because Goonies and Monster Squad, it's very, and even with my book Young and the Dead, there are adult characters, but they don't factor into it that much. They're kind of on the periphery. But this is almost like three. It's got the adults, the parents, then it's got the teenagers, and then it's got the kids, and these three factors, along with the villains and everything like that. But it's all those things, and everything comes together so amazingly. And I love stories like that where there's all these little elements, and you're wondering how is this all going to come together, and it does. And I just love it. I just love it. And so I've been going on, but I guess I should go back to the drawing. In the beginning, you probably saw that I started off doing a blue pencil, and then all of a sudden it turned red. Well, I was going for a certain look. Originally, I was going to do sort of like a kind of a Mondo type gig poster. I was going to introduce some type and stuff, which I might try to later digitally alter that and do something like a treatment like that. But anyway, so I was drawing with the blue, and then I scanned it in, and I decided to go with a little smaller scale. First, it was like 11 by 17, and I switched it to 8 by 11, which is what you're seeing. So I played around with the scale and everything like that, and then I printed it out. Actually, I printed it out in blue, but my blue and my printer must be going crazy or going down because it printed out in sort of a red, which is fine because I do stuff in red anyway. So I printed that out on like a Bristol, and then I went back over it and I kind of I played around with what you're seeing here is the character 11, who is, there's, like I said, all the characters are great, but this was probably my favorite character, even though she doesn't speak a lot. And this is kind of a weird scene. I don't want to, give too much away. And it's not really a scene. It doesn't happen like you're seeing it in this drawing. Basically, there's kind of these two different worlds, and I'm kind of combining both of them. There's a world called the Upside Down, which is kind of this weird stuff that you see around, and then there's this other world that she's in, and I won't go into it any more than that. But so I've kind of taken some artistic license and kind of creating a composition based on that. But this is a scene from the book, or from the book, from the, and then see, I was gonna say I said the book, and then I was gonna say I mean from the movie, but again, it's not a movie, it's a television show. But this is a scene from the show. At least the way she is, the way she's dressed in this helmet type thing, that scene, I was kind of toying with what version of her, because this is a very short type of scene where she's like in this situation, and there's so many other great scenes, but she's kind of this character that kind of just shows up and befriends this group of young kids, and they find out there's kind of more to her that kind of meets the eye, and it's just, oh man, you got, really, if you haven't seen it, please, if you have Netflix, you gotta watch it, because it's just, I haven't really heard anyone saying they didn't like it, and maybe it's just the circles I travel in, but it's got like rave reviews, and I would just, for me, it was the perfect length because it was like 8 episodes. It wasn't too long, it wasn't too short. It was longer, like I said, longer than an actual movie. But that was the perfect length of a show for me. Because a lot of times I'll look at shows, like people recommend shows, and it's like 30, like what regular season used to run at, like 23, I don't know, whatever it was. And I'd say, that's too much of a commitment. I don't have time to watch that. But this is like just perfect. And if you just get into it. But now I definitely want to see more. I definitely hope there's a second season and they can kind of continue this storyline, because I just want more of this, because it's all the things that I love, only like put together with more to it and done better. Everything from like I said, the acting is great, the scenery, the everything, the music, the score, and just the musical choices, like when they put popular music from that decade in there, just the way they chose that and everything. But if you like Goonies, if you like E.T., if you like Close Encounters, Poltergeist, Firestarter, all of these things and so much more. I mean, there's little like things that you notice from different movies. And these guys, the Duffer Brothers, I don't know, that directed it, I don't know where they came from. I assume they wrote it and created it too, but I want to see what's next coming from them, because man, these guys have a bright future ahead of them, because it was just so amazing. But anyway, so we're about wrapping up the drawing. I'm just kind of filling in a little extra, details and things like that. If you have any question about the drawing, just send me a message in the comments section. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, you might want to do that. I may be doing, I don't know if I'll do any more fan art. I don't know. I really kind of want to do some Rogue One stuff. I haven't seen a lot of Rogue One fan art. But I do a lot of other cool stuff on the channel. But as far as Stranger Things go, like I said, top marks for me, highly recommended. if I could give it a score like out of 10, I give it an 11. You see where I went with that? All right, we'll see you guys later. That is all.